They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Sing it, Dan.
People of Springfield, please don't eat my cats. Why would you do that? Eat something else.
I can't wait to sing along with him at House of Blues on May 23rd.
People of Springfield, please don't eat my
This is you on the cap card.
Here's a catalog of other things to eat.
They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets
of the people that live there. Kifnis, yes. You know, we had fun with this, of course, and this became sort of the way the press wanted to handle this, whether or not this was really occurring in Springfield and in other small towns that were overrun by an administration that drop-shipped thousands of people from other countries into their community and said, figure it out. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't funny.
Nope.
It was not funny to experience it, as we know from talking to folks, and the the gall that persists. I mean, this is how tone deaf and out of touch the Democrats, the open borders crowd specifically is. I'll give you a good example of one. Is there a better one these days than Jasmine Crockett from Dallas?
As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights. And frankly, how would they feel if some other country decided that they were going to just start throwing people randomly in our country? Like that is absolutely insane. So yes, all I got to say is y'all need to get these fools out of here.
Yeah, that's what they did. They threw people from other countries in here. People in Venezuelan prisons were sent here. From mental institutions were sent here.
In Springfield, Ohio, back in the fall, our friend Darvio Morrow reporting on this. 20,000 largely Haitian immigrants into a city of 60,000 people over 3 years, and said, according to Darvio, it's closer to it than me, figure it out. The influx, this is from his piece in Newsweek last fall, the influx of refugees is straining the social safety net, overwhelming medical centers and schools, and raising housing costs as unscrupulous landlords take advantage of Haitians while displacing residents in a city that already has a 22% poverty rate. At the time, Setys Kelly, Springfield area resident, told Darvio, quoting here, many of the homes have been condemned previously, and now the refugees are living in them. They have no water sometimes, no sanitation system, no heat. They've been seen publicly nude in a local creek bathing. Mm-hmm. The school systems are overloaded. She went on to explain, the first week of school, we had 300 new Haitian students that had never attended school here before. Last year, they were getting about 40 kids per week, and it was costing about $10,000 per student to educate them. Many of the students, Darvio Morrow opined, many of the students can't speak English, which causes issues between them and their teachers, while also costing the district tens of thousands of dollars in new accommodations. And we heard from some area residents about all of these matters. And it's not about Haitians in particular. You drop 20,000 people from a foreign country, and any foreign country, and tell the residents figure it out when the 20,000 people have little to no wherewithal themselves, and you're going to have all the problems that Springfield residents had. And then to complain about it, there was the implication that somehow you were racist, and to further pour salt in the wounds that they inflicted. The aforesaid Setys Kelly, quoted in that piece, joins us now. Springfield, Ohio area resident, formerly state secretary for the Ohio Federation of Republican Women and treasurer for the Republican Party of Clark County. Setys Kelly, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. But actually, you pronounce my name. It's Setys.
Oh, Setys. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Setys
that's okay.
Kelly.
It happens all the time.
Okay. I figured so.
Yeah.
All right. Setys Kelly. One of the reasons we reached out is just thinking about smaller communities, particularly in the Midwest. I mean, it wasn't just Springfield, Ohio, of course. It was Charleroi, Pennsylvania. It was Logansport, Indiana. and we wanted Whitewater, Wisconsin. We wanted to just check in and see how things are going under the new administration. I know the focus is on people that are public safety threats, but how things stand with this matter in Springfield.
Well, pretty much the same as it did last fall. People find that surprising, and they're like, oh, but they're self-deporting. We even had a newspaper article that reported how the Haitians are self-deporting.
Yeah, I read that.
But later in the article, you read it, and it says, but the majority are staying in the area. So where are they self-deporting to? Columbus, which is like 40 minutes away.
So no one's
Yeah,
going back
we
to
don't-
Haiti. They're just picking other cities in Ohio to live in.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm not even sure that many are self-deporting. We still have the same issues in school. It's springtime, and all the waterfowl returns from the south, and we still don't have any ducks. There are no ducks here. We have Canadian geese, but you go to the park to feed the ducks, take your kid. We still have no ducks because they disappear.
I don't want to ask about the cats and dogs. That seems a little on the nose. But I mean, the larger point is, I mean, first of all, it's understandable. Why would it change? Because many of these individuals are not public safety threats. They may be public safety or public burdens in terms of having to provide services and so forth. But who wants to go back to Haiti, particularly in the condition it's now? So why would anybody expect they would self-deport?
Correct. But, we have a lot of problems with automobile accidents.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman, he's had 5 accidents in the last 2 weeks. And supposedly, if you get a misdemeanor, they automatically send you back. But the problem in Clark County is that our elected officials, as well as anybody can tell that this is their reason, they get money on this. They are making money. They either own a property that's rented to Haitians, or maybe they ran for office and a company that hires Haitians gave generously to their campaign. It's crazy. And we have a new sheriff, who I knew was not going to come forth and remove anybody. He says he hasn't gotten a clear direction on how to handle the situation. So he's just waiting until someone tells him what to do.
Well, let's talk about the rental properties, because I watched a story online. I can't remember what outlet it was, but it showed people, not regular, but original citizens from Springfield being thrown out of their rental properties because they could double, sometimes triple the rent if they rent to Haitians.
That's correct.
And that is true.
Yes. My daughter lived in an apartment complex. She'd been there 10 years. It's separate buildings is how it's kind of set up, and then different apartments in the buildings. She was removed for feeding cats, stray cats. But she'd been there 10 years, never missed her rent. But everybody else in her building were Haitians.
Really?
Yeah.
So I would think this would be bubbling to the surface. I mean, you've got Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running for governor of Ohio.
Yes,
you
he is.
have J.D. Vance, who's was a senator from Ohio, and it's not just a Springfield, Ohio issue, as I mentioned at the top. But I would think there would be the political pressure that could draw attention to doing something. Making some policy changes that I'm sure Tom Homan would support with respect to how this is being managed in places like Springfield.
You would think. I am in touch on probably a weekly basis. It was a daily basis with the J.D. Vance campaign and his staffers, and I'm also a regular in with Vivek Ramaswamy. I actually saw him last evening at a Lincoln Day dinner. They are trying their very level best, but as you see, we have these rogue judges that are trying to return people that have records that have been exported from the country. it's a challenge for them to put any laws in place for any major action to be taken. We need the Senate to write a bill and get these executive orders in place so that they can be carried out. And in the meantime, everybody's just resting on their laurels and still making money. When you go back to the rentals, yes, they rent to the Haitians, but they get money from the federal government towards that rent. It's a subsidy. And then the Haitians pay, and many of the Haitians pay a lot more money, and they have more than one person living in their apartment. So it's easier for them to pay a higher rate than actual citizens.
Are they taking jobs away from Springfield residents, or are they just not working?
We were told in the very beginning we had to bring the Haitians in because there were 20,000 jobs that no one would fill.
Okay.
And everybody's asking, where were these jobs advertised? When were they made available to the public? When were the interviews? The answer to that is they weren't. These people were brought in specifically to work at a lower rate than what they have to pay an American citizen to work in these different factory distribution centers, if you will.
Okay, they're factory and distribution centers.
Well, there were stories about this, and that there are particular individuals that maybe sort of significant landowners and businessmen in some of these smaller communities that were benefiting in particular. That sort of, this is not you're working at the local John Deere plant. This is something that's indigenous to the region, is what some of the stories indicated.
Yes. A lot of local places benefit from the employment, but also some of the major places. We have Gordon Food Services here.
Okay.
We also have Gabe Brothers, which I understand several are working at that facility. But, if the papers were true and people were deporting, jobs would be available. And still, none of these jobs for any of these companies are posted.
But you know that the Haitian immigrants, that at least some of the Haitian immigrants, are working at those businesses.
Oh, yeah. You can sit there, when work lets out, there's white vans that come and pick them up and take them back to wherever they are living at the time. Some of them do drive, but there is transportation for large groups of them that aren't driving. And you can sit there in the morning and watch them get dropped off.
And I shouldn't say, is there pushback from the community, from, I would think, maybe depending on the businesses, some of the local unions?
Well, they're non-union positions.
Well, I know, but even more to the point, unions.
Right. I don't know why the unions haven't got involved, but there's a lot of pushback from the citizens still. I don't know if you saw that our mayor has a video where he apologizes for his white privilege.
I saw that.
And and then we've got an event that he was with the Haitians downtown, and again he was apologizing that he didn't know how hard it was for people who are of another race to live. So, we've got a lot of problems with our governance here. That's a big issue.
Yeah, well, that certainly encapsulates it. Is the mayor a beneficiary of the situation at all?
In what way?
Yes. He rents properties to the Haitians. He has rental properties.
He needs his clients. He needs his base to stay.
Well, and he also owns a funeral home. So, yeah, I kind of find that kind of interesting.
Do you interact with any of the Haitians? Have you tried to be neighborly and, welcoming?
They're not in a position, they say they are, to be welcoming, but they're not. You go into a store and they stay in groups, 5 or 6 in a group. A lot of times they'll be looking for something and, looking for sugar, and I don't know what they say, and then they get louder. And it's like, I don't know, but sugar's down that way, and you kind of point, it's like, you're not really making an effort for me here. Give me a translator. Show me a picture. You've all got phones. Show me what you're looking for. Try to communicate that way. As far as school goes, I don't know if they're getting more training for the younger kids than they're bringing the English home. I don't know how that's working, but I know there's little to no English classes. But we do have, interestingly enough, we had an older church that is now a Haitian welcoming center that was bought by the Haitian community. I'm not quite sure where they got all that money at, because I'm pretty sure it went for over $1 million. So they're living there. And then May the 3rd, there is a group that's having a fundraiser to raise money for the Haitians. So,
I mean,
yeah.
do you think? I mean, you were a Republican Party official.
Yes.
Do you think people in Springfield feel abandoned by their government at every level?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the majority of our commissioners, state reps, senators, mayor, on down the line, they're Republican. Yeah.
Setys Kelly, Springfield, Ohio area resident, formerly state secretary for the Ohio Federation of Republican Women and treasurer for the Republican Party of Clark County. Setys Kelly, thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll stay in touch and see how things develop as we get a little deeper into the Trump years.
That'll be great. And as soon as they start removing them, I'll let you know.
Oh,
Please do.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
You too. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160